today, and we are back for week 5 in our 52 weeks of art journaling. I'm so excited. I'm just enjoying this process. As always, I enjoy art journaling, and to be able to share this with you guys here on YouTube is just awesome. It's so much fun, and I'm glad from all your feedback that you guys are having a good time with this too, and you're finding a lot of value in it. So it definitely isn't your traditional, art journaling prompts and everything probably, but yeah, I find that for me when I'm working to kind of like just, think about the questions, ask myself questions that sort of motivate me at a deeper level or that causes my little inner voice to speak, is what I have a tendency to find is just like so inspiring, and there's so much material there. There's so much that I can draw from to use in my art and my projects. So it seems like you guys are having a lot of fun with this and as well. The other thing is I do enjoy your comments, and I normally always try to comment. If nothing else, I'll put a little heart because I read every one of them. It just depends on like if I'm, on my phone or I'm doing some other things and I'm reading stuff and I can't stop to make comments. But please continue. Thank you so much. And one of you last week suggested that I take the paper that I'm reading from and, like lay it down or something like so that you could just take a screenshot of it. That is a great idea, except for when I was checking with my editor, she said, she suggested I don't do that because this is a manuscript. I mean, I'm in the process of publishing this book. Well, actually, I'm searching for a publisher, but if not, I will self-publish because I have an editor. I have my book design person, that does the layout and what have you. And I'm working on the images and stuff for it. So it will get published one way or the other, but it's going to be 52, weeks of art journaling and a lot of the same things we're doing. So that's why I can't take that suggestion, though I thought it was a really good one. So what I will try to do is just read a little more slowly. This week, week 5, is Revelations About Love. This was a really good one for me because when I started spending more time in my studio and really wanting to carve more time out, I realized that some of my habits, the things I was doing that I enjoyed doing, had changed in terms of the priorities, but I hadn't changed them in terms of how I prioritize them. And so they were still taking up more time, or I was still doing things that I could replace them with more studio time or more art exploration or that kind of thing. So this was a aha moment one for me. So love. There is so much we describe with just this one term. We use it when expressing our feelings for those we love, our art, and creative time, long walks, our pets, favorite travel destinations, and the list goes on and on and on. However, I have found that old love connections can prevail and get in the way of our current goals, desires, and dreams. For instance, can you relate to this? At one point in your life, you really enjoyed a particular activity. Let's say going to the movie theaters. But these days, not so much. You have a spouse or a friend that still loves to go. And so with every new release, here they come wanting you to tag along or come along or, enjoying them. Yet it's not your thing any longer. You prefer to stay at home and jelly print. So how do you handle this in that particular situation? Can you recognize how important it is to reassess old loves and disconnect or connect differently so you are not just going along, to get along? I found that it was the simplest things like this that happen daily, like watching the morning or nightly news out of a tradition when you get most of your news off the internet these days, or fixing a full breakfast for the family when, you've basically got an empty nest or you don't even eat heavy breakfasts anymore. I'm asking that you just pay closer attention to your daily activities this week and make notes on what ranks as a love and what can be dropped from the must-do list in order to free up your time and allow you to focus on what you would most like to be doing. Now, I have to say this also goes with how we have our homes, laid out any longer. I know that when my kids were younger, everybody had a bedroom. I had my traditional living room and family room and breakfast room, where we ate our morning breakfast, but then we had a traditional dining room where we had our family dinners, especially weekend dinners and our Sunday dinners when our family would come in, my sisters and brother and parents would come over to the house on Sundays. They mostly would come over to my house. And so I use these rooms like that, but with the kids gone, and, older, and these rooms are sort of sitting there, and I don't use them like that any longer. So to repurpose the dining room, living room area into maybe a full studio space, why not? I mean, if those rooms are not hardly being used. So it's like I started really reconfiguring even how my house was set up, because I didn't need it set up like that any longer. It's like sometimes it's the simplest things you don't even think about. Like, I remember when I had that aha moment, I thought, like, why do I still have this room set up like a bedroom? It does, like, I do not need 4 bedrooms any longer. And so, yeah, it's like little things like that, and even with me asking this question every year, it causes me to tweak even my current setup, and the current things that I'm doing and how to repurpose. So really spend some time with this. Do a lot of just list taking and notes and writing and just thinking about your habits and looking around your home and just thinking about how you could maybe set things up differently that would go with your current loves and projects. So it is so easy to go along to get along, until one day, as was my experience, I looked up and nearly everything I loved about my life had drastically changed. I share my road back to self and the role journaling played in my healing. And so that started playing a big role in my journaling, really just me considering these things and writing about them in my written journal, in my visual journal, and a lot of times I would combine them. But it was really a road back to the better part of myself when I really stopped just sort of being on automatic and really began to think about the things that really brought me pleasure, and the things that used to bring me pleasure, but they still do if I were doing them in larger quantities, like if my kids were still home and things like that. But when those things change, are the things that we fill our days up with change, and are we replacing them with those things that we most want to do? So there we have it. Let's jump over into the working part of our video, because it's a lot going on with distressed inks and oxides and jelly printed pages that we're going to just turn into some really yummy, lovely pages to be able to work back in our journal. So see you shortly. Hey y'all, so I'm here with a very messy table, and I've been working on some of these jelly printed sheets, and I thought, well, you know what? This week, why don't I show you how I do distressing on some jelly printed sheets using the Tim Holtz distress oxides and inks. And by now you see I work on the pages, and then I work out of the book and then put them in. So like I can see myself working these jelly printed sheets into the journals, like, with a nice open space here that I can do collaging on. So I just thought I would work on some pages, and so I was sharing it with you guys. I have this way of jelly printing where here's another one I've been working on, that I don't use a brayer. I use a paintbrush and some other liquids and things like that. And I do a major jelly printing session every month with my patrons, and so I was working on that, and I was doing this technique that's really very painterly, you can see, and it's just really making these sort of really random sort of painterly backgrounds. But then I come back and I distress them to really fill them out. And then I will do some stenciling on them, different things like that. So these were some that I did. And I'm going to come back now and work on them. So trying out some different colors. I have a few new Tim Holtz here that I haven't used. So let's start off with, let's do this one. And I think I'm going to use, let's see, which one of these am I going to use? I'm going to start with pumice stone. I love this one. Let's start with pumice and kind of see what we end up with. So I put the ink pad on my, and some of you guys have seen me do this before, where I'll just put the ink pad on my palette and then kind of start the distressing that way. This is going to be very subtle. So I'm going to kind of build up these very subtle layers. So I think I can go right onto it. I like to test it with water first because sometimes it can be a little too intense and I don't want that intensity, but pumice is really not that intense. So we're just going to kind of go in right using the ink pad. So we get a layer built up. It's very subtle. Probably don't even see anything right now. And I'm going to come back with hickory smoke. And what I'm doing is I'm just getting some color down on here so that I can control how absorbent this is going to be. Let's get, where are we? Black soot, hickory smoke. So it's going to start building these layers up. I'm going to put this up just so you can see. It's very subtle at first. You're going to see just a really subtle hint of color. This is going to definitely make it deeper tones. But what's going to happen is that all the extra color that's white, or I used a translucent, get some water on here. I used a translucent Eyes Ink by Seth Apter. This right here, it's a beautiful color. It's a pearl color, and so it's down there, but you can't really see it until I come back with the distress, and then like all these areas right there start popping and it picks it up. So I use cosmetic sponges. So let me cut this off some because it kind of starts getting a little tattered. So I just cut it down and get a fresh bit. So what we're doing is we're just kind of building up some color here. So you see how we start getting, it starts picking up like the staining around the edges. Okay. I also like to use, I want this to be a little subtle, but I'm going to get some of the iced spruce in the paints, in the distress paint. And this will go even darker. You can see that. So I like to build it up so I can get kind of various layers, and I can kind of control how much, you know, is I'm putting down. I really do like these distressed paints quite a bit. and see if it gets to be a little bit too much color like there, then I just get my baby wipe and I just remove some of it. Just removing some of it really does, but it picks up all of the brush strokes, and that's what I really, oops, no wonder that color went that way. I was like, why did I get so much green in there? Because I picked up the wrong sponge. It's okay. So we keep a baby wipe beside. But I actually like how it caught some mid-tone colors in there. It's really a good way to distress your jelly prints, and just really, I don't know, I like this technique because it really just gives me, it's a mono print, but it looks painted, and at the same time, you just have a lot of texture. I'm gonna go back with this baby wipe. A lot of you guys like that. My use of the baby wipe, so yeah. Discovered it quite by accident. Okay, see how this, now see how the pink is there, but it's more subdued. And now we've got this really neat kind of distressing all over the print. And it also integrated the print, so we don't have any white spaces. Oh, I really like this. So now what I'm going to do is get a stencil. Let's just get this one. It's one of my faves. And I think I'm going to use, what color do I want to use here? Kind of want a little bit more color, but I don't want to go too intense. Let's see what I have. Oh, you know what? I have hickory smoke. Let's do that in the distress, because that's going to be like a gray, a little slightly deeper gray. So here again, just kind of pounce it on there. And you don't really want a lot of color. I just want to kind of pick up a real subtle kind of pattern here. So, kind of week have you guys had? Pretty good? I've had a pretty decent week. Just busy. Seems like it's a lot going on. I don't know about you guys, but it seems like it's like really just a lot going on versus, you know, just kind of quiet and a little chill and laid back, which is where things generally are for me, but it hasn't been like that. So it's all good though. Oh, I know why. Probably too because I have a new puppy. Well, I've had her, but I got her back in October. Oh, see this? See how yummy that is? So it just is a nice subtle pattern, which I love. And I think what I'm going to do is get some of my Punchella. And let's do I wonder if I do frayed burlap, what it's going to look like. I'm trying to keep up. Let's go with ice spruce. I really am trying to keep everything like really subtle. Like I want this whole thing to sort of be like a subtle monochromatic color scheme. So let's just see what we come up with. So anyhow, yeah, I got her when she was 5 weeks old. And I had her until mid-December because the breeder that I purchased her from agreed to train her because she's a German Shepherd and she's going to be a big girl. And I wanted her to be well trained for just her own safety and just so that I know that when others come around, you know, in the family or friends, that people will be comfortable as well. And you know, when you have dogs that are those type of breeds where they're worker dogs and you know, they're very protective, at the same time they're very loving, because when I was a kid we had a shepherd and I just love that breed. And anyway, so let's see how this is looking. Oh, lovely. Okay, see that subtle, that spruce, I love it. So anyway, but you have to like really, it's best when you get those. You know what I'm gonna do? I think I'm gonna take this kind of dot pattern. I'm just gonna kind of spread it sort of over here, kind of like that. I'm gonna use the gold. So, you know, you've got to be true to the dog's nature as well. So you want to keep them happy and so you're happy. So anyway, so I paid for her to be trained as well. You know, all the basic commands, because I knew I didn't have time to do it. And there's nothing worse than a big dog that's kind of wild. So you don't want that. So anyway, so she went back to the breeders over Christmas and the first part of January. So we just got her back and she's like really good, but she's still a puppy. And so she's got a lot of energy and but she aims to please, you know, she wants to spend time with you. And I'm putting this gold. I'm using one of my faves, you know, iridescent bronze by Golden. So she wants to spend a lot of time with me, but I got other things I gotta do, right? Like work in my studio, serve my patrons, YouTube videos, work with clients, you know, like they say, I got a job. So anyway, you might have, last week's video, you might have heard her whimpering in the background. Because I'm also doing crate training with her, just so she's used to being there when I leave to go out. She walks around all the time because she's really trained well. I mean, she's still a puppy, so she still kind of won't always listen, but you know, for the most part, 80% of the time she's listening and doing just what she should be doing. But when I leave out, I can't just leave her around the house, so I have to get her used to, oh, look at this, look how magical it looks. This is one of my favorite stencils. So I really, really love that. Wow. And I like the different dot patterns laid over top of each other. That's going to be a really pretty page. So I think I'm going to stop there because I really like that. So that's how we've just taken a page that started off just kind of looking basic like this, with a lot of white spots and just the painterly strokes and everything is what the distressing really picks up. So you just get all of the brush marks and everything. When you go to distress, you see those brush marks and stuff are in there. And that's not the same if you're using the, you know, if you're just using the brayer. So that's why I like this technique. There's just a lot of brush marks and stuff that get picked up. So it looks really painterly. But I really love that. So let's do another one. I want to play with this green. I have, let's do this one because this has like a little celadon in its background. And I've got this crushed olive, Tim Holtz crushed olive. I have no idea what color this is going to be, so we're going to be experimenting on this one together. Let me get a fresh sponge. So anyway, last week she, so when I do the videos too, I put her in her crate because, you know, I don't want to be stop it, quit it, you know. And let me just see what this is like. Wow, that's bright, but it could be good. I wonder if I should, I'm thinking maybe I'll start off with putting it down and, you know, just spreading the color out a little bit and just see what that's like. This is crushed olive, like I said. So anyway, so you might have heard her whining in the background there because she could see me, but she wanted to play. This is really bright. It's okay. I'm gonna follow through with it. Then I'm gonna knock it down with let me see if I don't wet it. Oh, crushed olive. This is like Tuscan sunflower. I think that's a better name for it, Tim. But anyway, so it's all experiment. This is how I figure stuff out. I just kind of go for it. So anyway, so that was her whimpering in the background because she was trying to get my sympathy so she could come over and get in my paints and stuff. So in case you guys heard her, I know one of my followers asked me if the dog had been kicked. That was like a little surprising. It was like, whoa. Actually, honestly, I mean, I did tell her no. I mean, and I know the woman knows me. She's been following me for a long time. Anybody who follows me that thinks I would have a dog that was kicked, that really, I don't know. That really kind of stunned me, I have to say. So then I thought, okay, you could hardly hear her in the background, but I thought, well, for those of you who could hear her, just wanted to let you know, just introduce you to her. She's a 50-pound, 6-month-old German Shepherd whose mom and dad is over 100 pounds. So she's going to be a big girl. So it's important for her to really, you know, be happy and well-trained and all that good stuff. So you see I'm knocking this back with some, there's a couple colors on here. I think it's a little bit of that gold. And I'm using some of the hickory smoke, because I'm not happy about this really bright color. But what'll be nice is that it'll peek through underneath. You know, and it'll be nice. I'm going to come back with my, I always like to use this baby white because it really does help to integrate the color so it's not so intense. So you don't feel like you got just a huge layer of paint down there. Few of you said you did it and you really liked it. Yeah, it's amazing what it does. So all of this yummy distressing is popping up now. I love it. Let me get another baby white. So anyhow, those of you who have big dogs probably know exactly what I'm saying. But then I have a Bichon. My Bichon is 12 pounds. He's 15 years old. Those of you who've been following me, you guys have heard my Bichon. You've seen pictures of him, what have you. And so it's also important for her to learn her boundaries so that she doesn't accidentally hurt him because she's bigger. She's way bigger than him. And you know, she would never do it on purpose, but accidents happen. So he's out roaming around, but I can't have her roaming around when I can't properly pay attention to her. So anyhow, just thought I'd let you guys know so if you hear her in the background or if you hear, or if I have her in my studio and she's moving around and you hear something go crash, you'll know that I was trying to let her be out while I was working. A lot of times if I'm just in here working, she's out, but not when I'm taping because it's like, I find it's a little too distracting. At this point, it will come a time where she'll be fine. So you see that, like, this is so, I mean, so now that I really knocked that so-called crushed olive back with the gray, it's really pretty now. Gosh, I love working these pages like this. So I'll show you guys. So see, really does look more olive now. But you see how you can see the brush marks in there, but then the staining goes underneath the jelly print, the paints. You just get this really nice, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful bit. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get, on this one, I'm going to get my, I'm going to get some scripting. And I'm going to use this scripting down. And I want to use black soot. we'll just kind of just sponge it on here. Yep, this is nice. Okay, so I'm just going to do the whole bit because I wanted to just, you know, have this nice background scripted kind of texture. So yeah, this is, let me keep an eye on the time because I don't want to working away and my camera stops because I've run out of the first 30 minutes. But yeah, this is a fun way to work because you can just get a lot of pages, just, you know, just print it up, and then you sit down and you can work your pages this distress method and just really build up pattern. And these are my stencils, so those of you who are new and you're wondering what I'm working with, these are my stencils, and you can get them on istencils.com. The link is below in the description. And those of you who have your stencils, just kind of want to show you that I use mine all the time, and just kind of sharing the different ways I'm working with them, just to keep on giving you guys ideas. Okay, so wow, oh, look at that. See how beautiful and subtle it is? Oh, I love it. It just looks really, you know me, the old wall, the ancient, the really subtle beauty. Oh gosh, I love it. So I'm going to put it over and I'm going to do another. I just want to do it to the end of the, sheet. So let's just get, and I'm really making sure that I'm just, I'm just doing real subtle amount of color. I'm not really trying to put a whole ton of color down. I mean, I could, but this black soot is very subtle because it's more of a distress color. So it's not a full black as if I were to use a, just a, a permanent black ink pad type of thing. So yeah, so this week's prompt is revelations about love. So I know you guys are already pondering that, but yeah, it's about, like our creative time is a part of the self-love process, right? It's about how we love and what we love and becoming aware of that. And that was so important to me when I actually started giving myself permission to really be in my art. I realized that I had to acknowledge the things that I love and give myself permission to, love it, give myself permission to really love it. You can see the subtle mark making there. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to come back with the same stencil and I'm going to kind of offset it just a little bit. And then I'm going to do some random gold, this iridescent bronze. That's going to be pretty. So it may seem like it could be maybe a little off topic, but it really isn't. I think, as you play with the ideas, let me just kind of clean this week coming up. It's amazing how much we have to acknowledge revelations on love. Just revelations about it, because a big thing for me is that as a mother, there were things that I would allocate for my children that I didn't allocate for myself, right? We've all been there. Making sure your children have, dance lessons and soccer and basketball and football and taking their trips and camps and all of that stuff that sometimes we could spend some of the money on for similar things, but we don't. And when I realized that is when I came to this point in my life where I had enough to not only take care of my kids, but take care of myself. But I still would then just hold back and say, well, what if this comes up? What if that comes up? You know what I mean? And wouldn't spend it on the extra supplies of my art or, you know, whatever. Just this idea that I was, you know, and that was okay to look at it like that, because I was like, okay, I see how I'm loving, but then I get to also love myself like that. And so it's just revelations about love, how the things that we cherish, how, and then how does it reflect back on ourselves as creators. And, you know, I just made a lot of discoveries about that, and it really did enhance, oh my goodness, look at this. It enhanced the way I was in relationship with my art and my ideas and creativity. See how we get that extra layer? So that gold is laying down there now, and as it dries, it's going to like even pop more. So let's just finish this off over here. I love this. Let me just get a little bit more gold. So yeah, you can sit around and just kind of do these things, and you know, you can look at a movie while you're doing something like this. This is easy peasy. So yeah, so all these prompts just kind of build on themselves. So by the time we start getting prompts about the elements of art and our specific visual vocabulary, this first part of like kind of get in touch with yourself again, and just by asking these questions and thinking differently really will begin to prompt you around a lot of your creative ideas as well. So there's a method to my madness. When I designed this, it's definitely a method to the madness. And I appreciate you guys enjoying the ride and, you know, hanging out with me and enjoying this whole process of you know, so many of you reach out, and even beyond the comments below, I've gotten some really beautiful lengthy emails, and I read them all. And, you know, just sharing a lot with me. And I really appreciate hearing it all. Okay. Wow. Okay, so you see, we've got that. This is just so pretty. So this is just a really ready to go background paper that we can put right into our journals. So let's do another one. Okay. So let's see. See how very different these two are? Just by kind of playing with the colors a little differently. Love it. So let's see. Let's find another. These are the other ones that I did earlier today. Leave this one like this. I like this like that. Okay, so you can just make a lot of these papers, and then they're ready to work with. Let's work with this one right here, because I want to show you the dramatic difference. I mean, because this is just sort of like a lot of brush strokes, painterly, but and this was done on the Gelli plate. So we have a lot, so it's a mono print more so, but you see all those marks. So when we come back, and I think what I'm going to do with this one, I'm going to use some quinacridone Ozo Gold, and I'm going to water it down a little bit. Boy, I need some more of this. I have a little bit in this bottle here. So let's get some of this down. And you guys probably can't see my palette right there. And this is the Arteza palette. And I'm going to water it a bit. And Let's put this. I really love it when these marks start coming through. It's like really the rubbing it back and rubbing it into these paint strokes that I did on the plate when I went to pull this print. That is really what makes this technique, I think, special. Because you can sort of see, you see how you really can see the brush strokes there. It's just good stuff. And here, really see them nicely. So, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to use should I use some bundled sage? Let me see. Peeled paint, forest moss. Let me try some forest moss here. It's a green. I have no idea what this is going to look like, but hey. Oh yeah, that's nice. See, it just knocks the color back some more. That's nice. You get some more of that. This is the forest moss in this distress stain. So you can see how it just starts knocking the color back nicely. I really like distressing these jelly prints after I've done them. Just kind of play with it, knocking it back, picking up color. See how that really just picked up the color down in there? You just see the variation you start getting? It's amazing. I really like Tim Holtz distressed products, and you just have to work with them. If you kind of have to go beyond, you know, some of the standard quo kind of things, because the formulations, when you work against different acrylic paints and stuff, it's just, oh, this is just really pretty. And that little patch of pink I'm gonna leave. But it's like, I don't know, this is just like so Tuscan. Just has a feel of Tuscany or something to me. So let's see, which pattern are we going to use here? Okay, I love this. That's perfect. So you see, with just like a lot of subtle variations, you can see a little more of the green and the pink. Kind of got brownie over here, the green. It's just really old wall at its finest. So let's take and I almost want to use, I have these, the Stays On Ganesh. I have a red. this one? I don't know, I just sort of see red on there. And let's see what stencil I want to use. Kind of have this Harlequin. Let's just see what happens here. Now this Stays On is a permanent. So this is more like a dye or ink. So it's going to kind of take to this differently, but I'm going to try to mute it a bit. Let's just see. I don't know, this might be, I think my claret is dried up. Dried up. Yeah, it's there, but let's try the Ganesh. I need to get some more of these. Let's just see. All of these are a little on the dry side. Oh, this is better. It's going to be subtle, is what I'm going for here. I want sort of the subtle buildup of color. So it's kind of like the way you sort of like build up a little pattern on a wall. Yeah, so see how just have that subtle Harlequin pattern. Now this is permanent, so no matter what I do, it's not going to, that's not going to move. So even if I come back with anything with water or what have you, so I'm just looking around. I'm trying to figure out what stencil I want to use. Just use this gold and see. This I just grabbing some of the gold off my palette. And I'm going to use a little bit more of the quinacridone. The planes are overhead. So I'm going to extend this a bit. Okay. Oh, I love that. I love this. This stencil right here is from Stencil Girl. And I don't remember the name of it. I think it's just like Web or something like that. I've had it for a couple of years, so don't exactly remember. But if you go on Stencil Girl and look up, I think it's in their organic section, like leaves and branches or something like that, or twigs or something, you'll find it. She's out there squeaking her toy. She has these squeak toys everywhere. I have never had a dog that loves squeaky toys as much as she does. And my daughter got her a Bark Box subscription, well, both of the dogs, for Christmas. And she is like using it all the time. I mean, she just loves her box. So I'm gonna put this down. Let's get some gold. And she can have like 5 or 6 of these squeak toys everywhere, and she will squeak those things until the squeakers come out. So cute. She's such a puppy. Okay, so let's get some gold. This Punchella I have on my website, so I might have, I have to put it back. If it's not any up right now, I have to put it back up because I do have more of it. So I know a number of you have gotten it or have asked me recently, and I've sent you packages. But if you want some Punchella, I have it in different sizes. And I think I give, like in a pack, it's like 10 yards or so, because I give enough so that you can, because after a while it kind of starts going bad and you want some fresh stuff. So give you enough to last you really for a few years if you're using it all the time even. Okay. See? Oh, I love it. So we get that little nice, and when this dries, that gold is really going to pop. And so I feel like what I want to do is, let's just take, what would life be without a little bit of scripting? So, where's my black? Oh, let's use some Arteza Fancy Black. Oh, I love this. It's an iridescent color. It's so pretty. So I'm going to kind of overlap over that gold a bit. And this is just going to be a nice dark bronzy color. So this will add some drama to what we have here. What's the time looking like? Okay, we're doing good. So now this is going to lay over the gold dotted pattern, right? Okay, let's see. Let's see what we have here. Oh, yes. See? How lovely. So that's a nice page full of pattern. Oh my goodness. Yum. I love it. So this is so much fun. Okay, we could do this forever, but we're coming up on 40 minutes, and let me get my journal, because let's kind of play with, you know, here again. So that's where we ended last week. Let's take one of the ones we worked on today. These two would work nice together. So basically what we're going to do, the easiest way is I just sort of lay it down, and then getting my straight just inside the fold, and then just kind of do like that. That's the easiest way for me to see where to tear. Oops. So okay. So that one's going to go there. then let's see. I like this top edge. I don't want to get rid of that. So we're going to get this bottom edge. So once again, we can put the ruler down and just rip that. And so basically what I'm going to do is just, now that these pages are done, we can just glue them inside of our journal and then just keep working from there. Like a lot of times what I'll do, maybe we'll do this next week together too, is, let me get my glue stick, is, then I'll come back like with, let me get a piece of, paper for gluing here. Like I have a lot of different rubber stamps and stuff, and so it's fun to come in on these patterns and then, you know, sort of once they're in the book here, I mean, you could do it inside or outside, but I think next week I'll go through and use some of my rubber stamps, and then I like to come back in and go over and add other images, other patterns, and we can even go back and work the other pages that we still have like bits and places that we want to put things. So next week will be good for that, because then you'll see the pages I've been working on, what they're looking like now, and we'll kind of add some different, you know, additional images and stuff to them, and just kind of keep on working through our journals. Oops, keep on going off the edge of the page. Okay, so let's get this down. Okay, let me just get my trusty credit card. Oh, this is so nice. See how you just have this beautiful, and this I used a lot of the Waverly chalk paints. So a lot of the paints I used when I was painting were chalk paints. So it really has this really nice matte, chalky kind of finish to it, which I just love. So let's come and put this piece in over here. Like this is just going to work really nicely with the other side. Let me just do it like this. Okay. Let's move that and try to get this even. Papers really get so much thicker too, with all this extra paint on them. And then we still have these two pieces here to work. You know, in fact, what I think I'm gonna do is I think I'm gonna leave some space here and put this piece in so that there can be some collaging. I might even paint just to kind of fill this space up so I'm not left with that little strip, which I could still paint in there. But I think I'm going to do it like this, just to give it a little difference so that it gives me something to come back to paint or collage or, you know. Hold up. I don't like the way that's folding. It's so thick, it doesn't want to just fold easy like you think. So let's just go ahead and get our straight edge. Lay this down. So literally, you know, we have another session here where just working together, we made enough pages to have 7 more days worth of, you know, things that we can put down in our journal. And some of these are so pretty they stand alone. Like this one, right? I could put this down and that would just be a page in itself. It's just like so pretty. I love it. And then some of them, you know, I left incomplete so I can collage on. So you can see how you can just have a jelly printing session, play with new techniques like we're doing, and literally rip them up and put them in your journal, and you've got your journaling done for the week. And you got a lot of neat stuff in there. Ideas, colors, techniques, things that, you know, can be inspirational to you. Even now, you can sit and just, you know, flip through your books and look at them and just really already enjoy, you know, what you're producing. So daily journaling doesn't have to be hard. It does not have to be hard. This gold on here is just so, oops, gorgeous. So I can use some of my vintage Asian papers that are kind of translucent and put it down. Like I have this saved for over here. But see, I could do something like that. Just down the one edge. How pretty would that be? You know, just like this sort of text piece. And the ones with the ginkgo leaves actually could be really pretty over here. But, you know, so we can do something with this. This is going to go over here though. I kind of have it slated for this page. But, so anyhow, there you have it. So we have enough for, let me see, well, 1, 2. Well, these were 3 sheets, right? So that's 6. And I did another one we did together. 6, 7, 8. This one I did before we got on, and then I just had a lot of pages I did for my session. But if we just look at what we did, 1, 2, 3, that was 6 pages worth of images that we just enjoyed doing different colors and different techniques. Working with, you know, challenging ourselves to different color palettes. And then we get to glue them in our journal and, you know, just have some more inspiration. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that. You know, get your distress inks out, your distress inks, your oxides, your distress stains, the distress paints. I know you all have this stuff, and you can get the stuff at Michael's and Hobby Lobby and Joann's. You can run in and pick up a couple different colors if you don't have it. But then you can use paints. Maybe you have other inks, dyes, and stuff that you want to play around with. So play around with the technique and fill your journals up. Think about the revelations on love. Just revelations about love, and it's love of anything, of your plants, your gardens, your animals, your family, your work, the sun, trees, whatever it is. Just thinking about love, just revelations about love. And that's a nice topic to think about while we're journaling anything. Anyway, right? And I'll see you guys next week. Please thumb up the video if you enjoyed this. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. And we are on week 5 of our 52-week journey. And already, look how yummy everything is becoming. And it's just only going to get better. So I will see you guys next week. And until then, happy creating. Love you guys so much. And I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.